Ever seen a car that looks slow but suddenly smokes everything at a stoplight? That's a sleeper. Ordinary on the outside, but a beast under the hood. And the 90s? They had some of the best. Here are 8 unknown sleepers that might just blow your mind. First up, the 1990 Mercury Cougar XR7. Looks like a grandpa's Sunday cruiser, but get it with a manual? Now we're talking about sleeper status. Under the hood was a supercharged 3.8-liter V6 engine. We're talking 210 horsepower and a whopping 315 pound-feet of torque. But here's the kicker. Find one with the 5-speed manual transmission. Only 841 of these manual XR7s were ever made. Why is that important? Because that stick shift turned this mild-mannered coupe into a 0 to 60 mile-per-hour runner in 7.7 seconds, topping out at 139 miles per hour. The supercharger, an Eaton M90, gave it instant power, making it surprisingly quick off the line. The engine itself, based on Ford's Essex 56, was heavily modified for this application, with stronger internals to handle the boost. Specifically, it had hyper-eutectic pistons, which are known for their improved strength and heat resistance compared to standard cast pistons. Because this car looked so ordinary, most people had no idea what it could do. The perfect sleeper. Sticking with Ford, here's a true under-the-radar rocket, the 1995 Ford Thunderbird Super Coupe. With a rare manual transmission, this thing wasn't just big, it was fast. This Thunderbird SC also packed a supercharged 3.8-liter V6, but Ford engineers squeezed even more power out of it, 230 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. Find one with the 5-speed manual with only 574 of them ever built, and you were looking at a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 6.7 seconds and a top speed of 145 miles per hour. Like the Cougar, it used an Eaton M90 supercharger, but the Thunderbird SC had some improvements, including a better intercooler to keep the air charge cool and dense, boosting performance. The intake manifold was also redesigned for improved airflow. Ford also beefed up the suspension with Tokiko adjustable shocks, so it handled better than your average Thunderbird. The rear independent suspension, a rarity in American cars of that era, further enhanced handling. Still, from the outside, it looked pretty tame until you floored it. But how did Mercedes and Porsche keep this beast so quiet? It wasn't just about the looks. What was going on under the skin that made this seemingly normal sedan so incredibly fast? Let's dig in. It all came down to the details. Porsche didn't just assemble the 500e, they hand-built parts of it. They modified the body shell to fit the wider track and the bigger V8. The engine, though based on the standard 5.0-liter, had a different crankshaft, connecting rods and pistons. They even used a special engine management system from Bosch, called LH Jetronic, to fine-tune the fuel injection and ignition timing. It was all about getting the most power out of the engine reliably. This wasn't some aftermarket tuner job. This was factory-level performance, hidden in a plain package. Twist. Okay, so these cars were fast, but here's the twist. Sometimes, being too good could be a problem. The Lotus Carlton, which we're about to talk about, was so fast it actually caused some controversy. Turns out, a super-fast sedan could be too good for its own good. So, remember, fast is fun, but sometimes it can stir up trouble. Would you believe one of the fastest 4-doors of the 90s looked like a rental car? Meet the 1992 Dodge Spirit RT, turbocharged, Lotus-tuned, and shockingly quick. Yeah, a 4-cylinder. Dodge and Lotus worked together on this engine, known as the Turbo 3. It made a surprising 224 horsepower and 217 pound-feet of torque. The cylinder head, designed by Lotus, was a 16-valve design, a significant upgrade over the standard Spirit's 8-valve head. This seemingly boring sedan could blast from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.8 seconds and reach a top speed of 141 miles per hour. That made it one of the fastest front-wheel drive sedans of its time. The key was the turbocharger, a Garrett unit, and a Lotus-designed cylinder head with dual overhead camshafts and 4 valves per cylinder. This engine revved high and pulled hard, completely changing the character of the otherwise dull Spirit. The engine also featured a balance shaft system to reduce vibrations, making it surprisingly smooth for a high-performance 4-cylinder. What if I told you a full-size family sedan came with a Corvette V8? That's the 1994 Chevrolet Impala SS, a muscle car pretending to be a commuter. Under the hood was a 5.7-liter LT1 V8, borrowed from the Corvette and Camaro. It produced 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. That was enough to push this big sedan from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds, with a top speed of 142 miles per hour. Chevy also gave the Impala SS a sport-tuned suspension, bigger brakes, and a limited slip differential. This meant it could handle corners better than you'd expect from a car its size. The decarbon monotube shocks provided improved damping and handling compared to standard shocks. Plus, it had those cool 5-spoke wheels and a slightly lowered stance. It was a muscle car in disguise, perfect for surprising unsuspecting Mustangs. Now, for the car that caused a stir, the 1990 Vauxhall Lotus Carlton, known as the Opel Lotus Omega in some places. This was another collaboration, this time between Vauxhall Opel and Lotus. They took a regular Carlton Omega sedan and turned it into a monster. They started with a 3.6-liter inline-6 engine and added 2 Garrett E25 turbochargers. The result? A crazy 377 horsepower and 419 pound-feet of torque. This thing was ridiculously fast. It could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.2 seconds and had a top speed over 180 miles per hour. This made it one of the fastest sedans in the world at the time. It was so fast that it actually caused some debate in the UK. Some people thought it was too fast for public roads. The police even had trouble keeping up with them. The engine's block was strengthened, and it received forged pistons and connecting rods to withstand the immense power. That's how you know you've built a serious sleeper. Curiosity loop. So, how did Lotus turn a normal family car into something so fast it scared people? It was more than just bolting on turbos. What else did they do to make this car such a beast? Let's dive deeper. Lotus completely reworked the engine. They increased the engine's displacement, strengthened the internals, and added a sophisticated engine management system. They also upgraded the cooling system to handle the extra heat from the turbos. The transmission was a 6-speed manual from the Corvette ZR1, chosen for its ability to handle the massive torque. Lotus also heavily modified the suspension, using a self-leveling system from the Vauxhall Senator and fitting bigger brakes. AP Racing supplied the brakes with 330mm front discs and 4-piston calipers, providing incredible stopping power. It was a complete overhaul, designed to make the car not just fast, but also handle well and stop reliably. It was a true engineering masterpiece, hidden under an unassuming exterior. Now for something completely different, a wagon. Yes, a Volvo wagon. The 1995 to 1996 Volvo 850 T5R. This boxy family hauler had a secret weapon, a turbocharged 2.3-liter inline-5 engine tuned by Porsche. It made 243 horsepower. While that might not sound like a ton compared to some of the others, remember, this was a wagon. The turbocharger used was a Mitsubishi TD04HL-15G, providing a good balance of responsiveness and power. It was surprisingly quick, and it came with some cool features like special Pirelli P0 tires, side skirts, and sporty seats. It was the ultimate dad car that could also embarrass sports cars at stoplights. The engine, with its unique 5-cylinder sound, was a gem, and the T5R proved that practicality didn't have to mean boring. The ECU, or engine control unit, was also specially tuned to allow for a temporary overboost function, briefly increasing power to around 250 horsepower. Finally, we have an SUV, the 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee 5.9 Limited. This thing looked like your average family SUV, but under the hood was a 5.9-liter V8, usually found in Dodge trucks. It made 245 horsepower and a hefty 345 pound-feet of torque. That might not seem like a huge amount of power, but for an SUV in 1998, it was a lot. This Jeep could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds, making it one of the quickest SUVs of its time. Jeep also added some luxury touches, like fancy leather seats and a premium sound system. But the real selling point was that V8 rumble and the ability to surprise people who thought you were just driving a regular Jeep. The engine, officially called the Magnum 5.9, was a classic pushrod V8, known for its low-end torque. To improve performance, Jeep also upgraded the exhaust system with a low-restriction muffler. It was the perfect sleeper for off-road adventures and stoplight races. So, there you have it. 8 surprisingly fast cars from the 1990s that could fly under the radar. From supercharged coupes to turbocharged wagons and even a V8-powered SUV, these sleepers proved that you can't judge a car by its cover. Do you have any favorite sleeper car stories? Share them in the comments. Like this content? Then hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of cars. See you next time.